Hey everyone, welcome back to Tenmei Designs. This is the results of the coaster test that I did a full video on a couple days ago. I did post it up on YouTube. That is available in the links in the description, and it will also be available at the end of this video that you can click on and watch the whole thing of what I did. Now, this is the results. So I am trying to be able to take the epoxy that I poured into three different items, which I talked about in the previous video. Unfortunately, the one with cardboard was really hard to finagle off. That's basically just duct tape, a piece of cardboard, some duct tape wrapped around. Then I made as previously, the frame out of duct tape, popsicle sticks, and Gorilla Glue. It does come off, but it does not pop out of the actual frame, which is a failure, unfortunately. So that idea was a dud. As you notice, it also didn't really stick to the plastic trash bag that I had it resting on, which is a good thing. It means that any material like the trash bag, it shouldn't stick. So I kind of show you guys that some of the dye I used, which was white, was now all over my hands. It didn't stay in, and the piece of Tupperware kind of just pressed in. Uh, I did wait till the next day to do this because that night after I did it, it was like 66 degrees in that room that I'm in, and epoxy takes a lot longer when it's that cold. So I was glad that when I started taking it apart, it was now 72 degrees and a lot of things worked to suit. Now, the second one that I did was inside the Tupperware lid. I did not make the lid flat because, as you know, with Tupperware, when you mess with it, it kind of wobbles on the lid. So unfortunately, that piece has some areas that it's too thin, and then some pieces that it's too thick, and then it's not balanced. So that was a good plus, to know that I could use a lid, and it just popped out real easily. All I did was push in on the bottom, do a little kind of jimmying, and it just popped out. So, and you can kind of see the little purple effect that's in it, just so you can know that it works pretty good. And Tupperware lids was not something I looked up. I heard that the Tupperware containers itself was able to pop the epoxy out, not the lids. So I wanted to test to see if it worked with the lid. And unfortunately, my test frame was a dud. So duct tape, the shiny kind like that, does not really hold too well in the way I did it. Now, if it was probably taped down to the actual cardboard, it might have worked better, but I'm not going to go through trying to find out which type of duct tape really works. And I do apologize for any of the light flashing. Just my tablet had a little seizure, I guess you could say. So, anyways, I will have that as an option. So if you want that size, that shape of coasters, those will be available in the store in the next few days, because gotta put how it looks, how it is, what it is, and the options. I'm gonna leave it blank, so those will be more requested than actually just dyeing it any willy-nilly color. So, as you see, I explain what ends up happening to the failure of that duct tape. So, the last thing I did was using the Tupperware container. Now, I kind of finagled a little, kind of like the lid, but it wasn't popping out. So, what I ended up having to do is I punched the bottom and unfortunately cracked it. That was not supposed to happen. Because as I found out through looking up Tupperware, it's supposed to just pop out easily, kind of like the lid, but it wasn't doing it this time. I shifted, I finagled, and it just wasn't coming. So I was like, let me just hit the bottom. You know, a lot of us people go for that as our first mindset. Hit it and it will come out. Did, ended up cracking the container, unfortunately, but it came out really good. There is a little bit of sides that did not get full because I didn't use that much of epoxy. So it just ended up being that. And I wasn't going to try and duct tape that container. I did use it for the next test that you guys can see later on. That once I get that video rendered, what actually happens using the Tupperware container that's cracked. So with this, the blue coaster from the Tupperware looks really good. It flowed nicely. It has a nice balance, and even putting it on carpet and then putting a cup on it, it wasn't getting all willy wobbly, and kind of like when I did it with the lid coaster, it kind of tilted a little bit. Can't see it in the video, but that's kind of what happened. I did think that, like I show at the end, near the end, is I put duct tape on the bottom of that picture that I did, and I was able to pop those pieces right off, but it apparently just would not come out of the frame I made, no matter how hard I tried. So I'm glad you guys were able to come back, check out what I did for the results for this epoxy text. I have one more and hope to see you then. See you later, guys. Jane.